Welcome back. Yes, after a long gap, but then still, welcome back to the voice and visuals of Amber 20. And today we are going to take up, as per the request of a number of students who watch the YouTube and my lessons on the voice and visuals of Amber, for addressing this particular topic. Yes, modals or modal auxiliaries, or also called modal verbs. And to get the concept right, the first question that we are going to address is, why does this particular topic has three names? We'll see it. First, let us look at these couple of sentences. Aditi is playing chess. So here we have is as the helping verb or the auxiliary verb, and playing is the main action word, and together they make the two-part action verb is playing. Similarly, we have I am teaching grammar. Again, am is the helping verb or the auxiliary verb, and it helps the main action word teaching, and together they form the two-part action verb and teaching. My parents will leave for Vadodara tomorrow. So again, will is the helping verb or the auxiliary verb. And then we have another sentence, and that is Aditya. Aditya may arrive here tomorrow. So may. Now, may, well, it looks like an auxiliary verb, but then it does not perform the same function as the helping verb or the auxiliary verb. Because here, auxiliary verb or the helping verb determines, I would say, the tense. It is the verb which is determined by the subject. Okay? Aditi is playing chess. And if Aditi and her brother Aditya both are doing the same thing, then it would have become Aditi and Aditya are playing chess. So it is this auxiliary verb which is called a helping verb, but this is the verb which is actually the finite verb and which is determined by the subject's number or the person. But then here, Aditya may arrive. It does appear like a helping verb. It does accompany the main action word arrive. But then, if Aditya and Aditi both are going to arrive, or there is a possibility that they may arrive, so still may remains may. That does not change. So Aditya and Aditi may arrive in Noida tomorrow. So that's the difference. So which means this may or can, could, may, might, must, should, ought to, these do come before the main action word, but then they do not do the same function or do not perform the same function as the helping verbs. So because they look like helping verbs, we call the modals, yes, we call them modal auxiliaries, because they always are placed before the main action word, playing, teaching, arrive over here, arrive. So you can't have So you say to arrive. Alright? So let's see now. May. It's a modal auxiliary. It's also called a modal verb, just as the helping verb is called the helping verb or the auxiliary verb. But this is not an auxiliary verb, it is called a modal auxiliary that comes obviously before the main action words. So let's see. And they come with a different meaning. They convey a different sense. May. Pawan may play the match. So may comes before the main action word play. So Pawan may play the match next week. So what is the meaning that it carries? The possibility or the chance of something happening. He may play or he may not play the match next week. Or the possibility or chance of something not happening if we use it in the negative. So may not. Then it conveys another sense. May we go out for games, ma'am? Alright, very often kids, they ask for this permission. Alright, that is asking for permission is the function of another function of the modal verb or the modal auxiliaries or this modal may. So may we go out for games, ma'am? Asking for permission. And if ma'am or the teacher happens to be in a good mood, well, she says yes, you may. So which means you may go out for games now. So the function of may over here is giving permission. Alright? It is not to determine the time of action, as was the case with the helping verbs or the auxiliary verbs. So modal verbs or modal auxiliaries, or simply called modals, they have a different function in a sentence. They convey a different meaning and a very distinct meaning. So yes, you may, giving permission. Then if that particular sentence is going to be reported, okay, in indirect speech, and with the reporting verb being in the past, then of course you'll say yes, Pawan might play the match next week. The coach said, the cricket captain said that Pawan might play the next match next week. Okay, so then may becomes might. Alright, so this word of possibility or chance of something happening becomes might when it is reported, okay, in indirect speech and with the reporting verb being in any form of the past tense. Can. I can play badminton for an hour as a stretch. Well, here I can. Again, this is another modal auxiliary, comes before the main action word play. But then the sense which it conveys is of showing ability, the capacity, the ability to do something. I can play badminton for an hour at a stretch. I can do it. Okay? Can you help me write an article? So, the form of the sentence is interrogative. It's a question, but this question, the underlying function behind this question is of making a request. Okay, instead of saying, please help me write an article, so you can even put it in the interrogative sentence form and say, can you help me write an article? So making a request is the function of the modal over here. Can you help? And if it is again the capacity, in the past we say Mridu's mother could run a mile easily when she was young. So she could run a mile. She cannot run a mile easily now, but she could run a mile easily when she was young. So this is again indicating the ability in the past. Could. Okay? And of course I would just like to remind you that yes. Now here, for example, may. You can even say, well, can we go out for games, ma'am? Okay? That is when you are making a request. But then can you interchange? No. You can't say, may you help me write an article. You can't say that. So you see, this can you help me write an article is making a request. And here, can we go out for games is again a request for permission. So therefore, here, instead of may, we can use can, because there it would not mean the ability to go out. Yes, it does not mean the ability to go out. What the speaker or the communicator is trying to communicate is that he's actually making a request. So, ma'am, please allow us, okay, to go out for games. Instead of that, you just say politely, you ask a very polite question, may we go out for games, ma'am? So, that here can be used, but here you can't say may, alright? And I still remember our English teacher was a legendary teacher, Reverend Father Jim Cox. And whenever we would ask him, may I, or can we be excused, or can I go to the toilet? Well, he would say, yes, you can, but you may not. Okay, so he followed it in a very strict sense of the term, that is, can refers to the capability, which means yes, you have the capacity, you have the capability of going to the toilet, or capability of easing yourself, but then you may not. I am not giving you the permission. So he would always, remind us that please use the word may, all right, in the strict sense of the term. Okay, so may we, or may I be excused? May I go to the washroom? Okay, fine. But then you can over there now use can as well, because here then it would mean can I be excused is like making a request. Okay? Could is, of course, as I told you, the capacity in the past. Then must. Okay, now must has to be followed by the correct tone, the appropriate tone. You must. Yeah. You must talk to your teachers politely, which means must is a modal auxiliary, and the function of that is doing something very important. So you must talk to your teachers politely, which means talking to your teachers politely is something very, very important. And then, more like an advice that something is right, something is appropriate, something should be done. Like, Veena, you should write legibly. So this is like an advice, okay? Please try to write legibly, more clearly. Please write more neatly. So Veena, you should write legibly. And then, Shiny, you should be more careful. Okay? So you should be more careful. Maybe while crossing the road, you should be more careful. But then, say if this particular girl did not take care and tried to cross the road, and then there was a near hit and miss, or there was almost, an accident would have taken place, then the mother, the very excited and the very aggravated mother, the emotionally surcharged mother would say, Shiny, you must be more careful when you cross the road, right? So you can see the distinction. The advice can become more like an order That is more like insisting on doing something very important with a different tone of voice. So, Shiny, you must be more careful, okay? When you cross the road, right? But then, sitting at home, sipping a cup of tea, Shiny having a customary glass of Bonvita, all right? And then the mother says, Shiny, you should be more careful, okay, when you cross the road. I saw you crossing the road yesterday. You weren't very careful, but then you should be more careful. So here, there was no near accident, but then the mother is just trying to give a piece of advice or trying to tell her daughter to do something which is right or which is appropriate. And ought to is again, more of an advice and a little more formal. Okay, you ought to, when we are talking to one another, communicating with each other in an informal manner, we don't usually use ought to. So we ought to, okay, we ought to discuss our problems with our parents or elders. So this also is functioning as an advice, but then a little more formal. Okay? A little more formal. So the situation is more formal, then we use ought to. Alright? So that is what modals are all about. We will do a few more, okay, which are left in the next session. And so I hope you have understood why these, are, yes, they are called modal auxiliaries because they are like auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs. They come before the main action verb, and then like helping verbs, they are called modal verbs also, but the function is different. They convey a different sense or a different meaning altogether, right? They are not determined by the subject. They're not determined by the person or the number of the subject. So we ought to, first person plural. I ought to, first person singular. She ought to, third person singular. So I am changing the subject, but the modal auxiliary, unlike the auxiliary verbs, okay, the modal auxiliary or the modal verb does not change. It is not determined by the subject. Okay, so that's all for this session. And the 6th of September. So yesterday we had Teachers' Day. So I would also like to wish all my teachers and pay my tributes to the teachers, the ones who are no longer in this world and the ones who are alive. And I pray for their good health. And of course, whatever we are because of our teachers. And as someone very rightly said, that there wouldn't be any profession to contribute towards the society had it not been for teachers. So yes, to all of my teachers and my teaching colleagues, okay, with whom I have worked, happy Teachers' Day. A little belated. That's all. Thank you very much, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel called The Voice and Visuals of Umber 20, and let us all discuss language and grammar through the voice and visuals of Umber. And this is 20. Thank you. God bless.